If you've ever felt that profound spiritual understanding requires years of incredibly complex study, immense wealth, or, packing up and retreating to a remote mountain cave, well, prepare to have your perspective completely shifted today. Welcome to this explainer. We are jumping right into Chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita to discover how the grandest, most ultimate cosmic truth is actually hidden right in front of us. Seriously, it's in the simplest of everyday objects. The ancient spiritual texts we're examining today suggest that you absolutely don't need a grand pilgrimage to uncover the secrets of the universe. You literally might just need to look at what's already in your hands.
Just think about the paradox here for a second. What if the universe's most profound spiritual reality doesn't demand elaborate, expensive, or totally exhausting rituals? What if it's completely accessible right now, literally sitting in a glass of water on your kitchen counter? As humans, we love to overcomplicate the divine, don't we? We want formulas, we want grand gestures, we want complex, multi-step systems. But the ancient texts we are exploring today completely flip that script. They suggest that a simple drop of water actually holds the exact key to the ultimate cosmic secret. It cuts right through all of our manufactured complexities.
So, Chapter 9 introduces us to two incredibly powerful Sanskrit terms, Rajavidya and Rajaguhya. Translated, this just means the king of knowledge and the king of secrets. But here's the truly fascinating twist. This knowledge is not royal because it's locked away in some impenetrable palace or reserved exclusively for the elite. Not at all. It reigns supreme over all other forms of knowledge because it has the power to directly and immediately transform your life. And it's a secret, not because God is deliberately trying to hide it from us in the shadows, but because it naturally eludes the human ego. It's a reality that can only be unlocked by the absolute purity of your heart and your intentions.
Now, this requirement for a pure heart creates a really stark contrast to how so many of us operate today. Let's be honest, we often approach spirituality exactly like modern commerce. We treat it like a strict, calculated business transaction. We tend to think, okay, if I donate this exact amount to a charity, or if I perform this specific daily ritual perfectly, well then the universe owes me a promotion, or good health, or just a better life. We keep a spiritual ledger. True devotion, however, as outlined in this royal knowledge, operates on a completely different frequency. It is all about unconditional love. It's about offering your actions with a pure intention, without expecting a single thing in return.
When we approach the divine with that ledger, we're essentially reducing the creator of the cosmos to a giant cosmic vending machine. Put a coin of prayer in, get a blessing out. As our source material points out, bringing offerings just to get a favor in return completely misses the point of genuine spiritual connection. When we say, I give you this, so you must give me that, we are placing artificial human limitations on the infinite. We're binding ourselves to conditions. And Chapter 9 of the Gita makes it abundantly clear. This transactional, what's in it for me approach will simply never unlock that ultimate secret we are so desperately searching for.
Here is where Krishna completely democratizes spirituality in verse 926 of the text. He explicitly outlines 4 universally available items: patram, which is a simple leaf; pushpam, a flower; phalam, a fruit; and toyam, which is water. Krishna states that he joyfully accepts any of these items if, and this is a big if, they are offered with genuine love. This is a massive paradigm shift. You don't need chests of gold, and you certainly don't need to sponsor elaborate theatrical feasts. The divine values the absolute devotion behind the offering, not its material price tag on earth. By asking for something as simple as a leaf, Krishna literally levels the spiritual playing field for all of humanity.
Let's zero in on that last offering, toyam, or water. It is the most foundational, basic element we know. It sustains all biological life on this planet. It effortlessly quenches our thirst, and it's universally used to cleanse and wash away dirt. By stating that a simple drop of water is enough to reach the divine, the Gita is proving that a profound, universe-altering connection requires absolutely zero wealth, status, or special privilege. It's freely available to the poorest person on earth. The barrier to entry is quite literally zero. It is purely the intention, the love behind the act, that bridges the seemingly impossible gap between the human and the divine.
Now, let's look at this through the lens of modern science to really grasp its magnitude. Think about a modern botanist or a geneticist. From a single, tiny, seemingly insignificant leaf, they can extract DNA and read the plant's entire complex hereditary code, right? They know everything about that plant's history, its makeup, and its potential from just one tiny fragment. Well, just as the scientist reads the genetic code, the divine instantly reads your spiritual DNA.
When you offer that simple leaf or that drop of water to Krishna, the universe isn't looking at the physical object itself. It's looking right through it to read your pure love, your innermost intentions, and your absolute sincerity.
We can also translate this beautifully into the modern corporate world. The Gita explains that people often worship lesser gods or passionately chase temporary earthly desires for quick material results. Our source material beautifully compares this to spending your entire career working for different middle management departments in a massive, sprawling corporate bureaucracy. Sure, you might get a small temporary perk or a tiny bonus, but offering your simple, everyday actions with pure, unadulterated devotion, that is the equivalent of taking your work directly to the ultimate CEO of the universe. You completely bypass all the red tape, the waiting rooms, and the middle layers and connect straight to the source of all existence.
While the ancient texts delve into deeply complex layers of philosophy around all of this, it all essentially hinges on one vital, active ingredient: Shraddha, which translates to deep faith or absolute trust. You can have all the intellectual, dry knowledge in the world. You can memorize the ancient texts cover to cover and logically understand all these beautiful analogies. But Shraddha is what actually makes it real. It is the vital bridge connecting dry, theoretical knowledge to a true, living spiritual experience. With faith, the incredibly ordinary action of drinking water or offering a leaf defies the endless, chaotic cycle of material distractions and becomes a deeply profound, loving connection with the divine.
To really wrap our heads around how God can be in everything, including that single drop of water you offer, yet not be bound or limited by the physical world, think of an enormous iceberg floating in the freezing ocean. The iceberg represents the visible, created, physical world we live in. It is made entirely of water, just as the entire universe is completely permeated by the divine. However, you can't simply drink the iceberg, can you? It's currently in a temporary, frozen, highly restricted form. It cannot flow freely until it melts back into its true essence, pure, unmanifest liquid water. The divine is that infinite water, supporting and making up the iceberg, but remaining vastly greater and totally unconfined by that solid form.
Consider another really beautiful analogy drawn from the natural world: the relationship between the sky and the wind. Think of the mighty wind. It moves absolutely everywhere, creating massive physical force, shifting clouds and driving powerful storms. Yet despite all this relentless motion, it rests entirely within space, within the vastness of the sky. But does the wind ever actually change the sky itself? Does it tear it or attach to it? No, not at all. The sky remains completely unattached and unaffected by the chaotic movement within it. In the very same way, the divine supports all moving, evolving physical existence, without ever once being entangled in it or diminished by it.
All of this beautiful philosophy leads us to an incredible ultimate payoff, a profound promise known as Yogakshema. Now, in this context, yoga doesn't mean physical stretching on a mat. It means acquiring exactly what you spiritually and materially lack. Kshema means fiercely protecting and preserving the good that you already have. Krishna makes a profound guarantee here. When you finally drop the exhausting, transactional mindset and offer your simple, daily actions with pure love, the divine personally steps in as your protector and provider. You simply do your daily duty with a pure heart, and the universe literally steps up to carry your modern burdens and anxieties. How amazing is that?
So, which brings us to our final thought. You don't need to be ancient royalty, and you definitely don't need massive wealth to make a true cosmic connection. If the ultimate secret to the universe requires absolutely nothing more than the water you drink, a simple leaf, and the sheer purity of your love for the divine, what's actually holding you back from living with pure intention today? How will you consciously transform your next ordinary, everyday action into something profoundly sacred? I leave you with that question to reflect on. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep that pure intention flowing.